How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So today we're going to do a market analysis on something kind of special. Today we are going to do a market analysis on an All-Star number 8. I have this special case thing. Why isn't it fitting? It must fit. There we go. Sorry about that. But yes, I'll have a picture of it so you can see it closer. But yeah, the reason why I'm doing a market analysis on this is because I've had this book for some time, but it is now going off to a new home. And so I figured I better do it before I don't have it anymore. So because this is the only one I've ever had, and I don't know how long it's going to be until I ever get another one, if I ever do get another one. I'm assuming I will at one point. But yeah, so this is the first appearance of Wonder Woman. And she's one of the Trinity. You know, you have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. This All-Star 8 came out, and she's not on the cover, I don't believe, yeah. And she's actually not the first female superhero. Hawkgirl is in All-Star 4, I believe. Came out before. I think there might be some other ones that came out, but in like the DC world, I think Hawkgirl's the first superheroine. And so, yeah, she's not on the cover. So sometimes people can desire Sensation Comics #1, which has her on the cover. But this is still much more valuable because it is her first appearance. And yeah, so we're going to look into the numbers and see kind of like what it's worth, where it's going. These older Golden Age and just more rare books is really hard to kind of put a value on it because there's just not that many. And it really comes down to supply and demand, how much there's available versus how high the demand is. I think the demand for Wonder Woman softened a little bit due to Wonder Woman 2 not coming straight to streaming service and not in theaters. So when they did that, they weren't going to advertise a ton. So it's not like you saw just tons and tons of advertisement, kind of like how you do if it's, you know, a movie coming to theaters. It's just nonstop advertisements everywhere you go, every TV, before every movie, you know. And then you have like things in like, you know, Coca-Cola will do an ad for them, and you know, McDonald's will have them and stuff like that. So you just don't see those kind as much ads if it's going straight to streaming because, you know, HBO WB is already losing money by putting it in streaming compared to theaters. And then on top of that, the movie wasn't that great, so there wasn't like a ton of buzz about it after and a little bit before. And so I think that kind of softened it. But they are going to make a Wonder Woman 3, and hopefully they can kind of fix where they went wrong with the second one. And so I think that kind of softened the book a little bit because these comics are based off of the value is based off of demand, how much people want it and how much they're willing to spend. So if it's not as popular, then there's going to be less demand, and it doesn't matter how rare or unique the book is or how high a grade. If there's no demand for it, it's worthless. I mean, it might be worth something to someone, but for the most part, it's not going to. There's tons of old Golden Age characters that they might be rare, hard to get, all this stuff, but they fell into obscurity and no one knows who they are, so the demand is very low. Like, think about the Green Llama, right? Maybe some of you have never even heard of him, but he's an old Golden Age character, but he's not anywhere close to any of these other Golden Age characters because he didn't transfer over when he was there and then he's kind of gone. You know, even the Black Terror, right? Black Terror is huge. It wasn't like he was like some nobody. He was pretty big. He had exciting comics and his own comic line, Black Terror, and he was in other comics. And he had a big run, but where is he today? I don't know who exactly owns the rights to him, but he's not popular, and therefore his comics don't command anything close to, like, say, a Captain America or, you know, a Human Torch or an old Superman or Batman or something like that. They just don't because he's not as popular. So you need popularity to build up a comic. I think Wonder Woman is definitely very popular. I think that she hasn't gotten the bump yet that other Golden Age characters have recently. You know, this recent bump that all comics are getting. I think she hasn't gotten hers yet, but I think I think there's just too much around for a while. But at one point when I had this up there, there's 10 other copies of All-Star 8. And they're all around the same grade, anywhere from like a 1.5 to like a 5.5. You know, it wasn't like, oh, we have like a 9.4 up there and then a 9.0 and stuff. It was all within. And now it's synced down to 3. And this one's gone, so now there's just going to be 2. And so when you have, you know, a short supply, that's when the demand starts kicking in, and that's when prices go higher. Because now it's like, well, where am I going to get one, even if you wanted one? Right? You have 2 available on eBay. I think they're from the same seller, and I think they're maybe the same grade or around the same grade. So yeah, now you're going to see, I think this book's starting to climb up more in value just because there's not as much available. When there was like 11 that you could pick from, 10 or 11 on eBay in all around the same grade, that kind of, you know, shrinks down the demand because it's like, well, if you're not going to offer the price I want for that, then I'll just take it from this guy and stuff like that. But now that they've been swooped up and there's not as many, now the only way that you get one is you have to pay for it. So yeah, so I'm kind of sad to see this go, but you know, that's part of the job. That's what I do. I just basically hold these books until they go to the, you know, to a better home. That's all I am, is like this middle person. It's like if you went into a car dealership, you don't assume that the owner of the car dealership is like, wow, what do you have? You own thousands of cars? No, they just own, that's what their product that they sell. You know, they're just a mediator. They get it from someone and they sell it to someone else, or they get it from the dealership or the maker, and then they put it in their dealership and sell it to someone else. They don't actually think that they own thousands of cars. Kind of like this. I don't think I own thousands of comics. They're just more of like, I'm holding them for the next person. So yeah, I'm kind of sad to see this go. This was probably our biggest, but it's part of the game. So yeah, so let's dive into the numbers. And I had to do this video before it was all gone. So, all right. Okay, so let's look at the numbers of the All-Star 8. All right, so it came out in 1942. Now, if you look, there's just not that many for sale. You got one so far in all of 2021. Maybe a handful in 2020. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a couple here that are sold in 2020. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, these are all just, I mean, think about this. No grade, incomplete, missing centerfold, coverless, sold for $4,300. So they just don't come up that often. There's not that many. But one thing you'll notice, though, is you can see when the first Wonder Woman film came out. See this big jump right around 2016? Because the movie came out in 2017. Let's see if we can see. No, not enough sales there to see a real graph. Nope, not enough sales there. Yeah, there's just like a few here and there. Look, another little jump, 2017. You know, think about this. Since like 2005, since the GPA started collecting data, there's only been 9 sold in a 3.5. I'm looking for, yep, see here, you can see a clear jump when the movie came about. Look at a 5.0. Look, another jump when the movie came out. And that's the power of like movies and things like that, is they can bring up the hype and stuff like that. So you don't want to be caught getting in on the hype train, because eventually you'll settle down and then you can just pick up the same book that you wanted for a little bit cheaper. But a lot of people do, they get into the hype and things just go crazy high. So yeah, it's like you can see there's a lot in the 4.0 for sales, but in a lot in like the, you know, there's 6 for a 1.5. I think there's a lot in here in the 5.0. A lot, by I mean comparatively. There's 13 total sold. So yeah, we could jump into more of the numbers. I made a little chart. Move me out of the way. Okay. So we look at this graph here. I tried to get as much sales data. It wasn't that much, but so if you looked in 2005, you're looking at a 1.5 cost you $1,800. And now the most recent sale, which was in 2021, a very recent one, 18,000. So if you look at that, that's a 9,000% jump, which is 16,000, you know, in the last, that's 15, 16 years. Then at 4.0, there was more. So you got one, you could get in 2005 for, you know, 5,500, 2010, 60, like not that much of a jump. But it's like even 2015 when movies were coming out, like Batman movies, Superman movies, all that kind of stuff, and the hype was building, and maybe even Wonder Woman was announced. I don't know if it was announced by 2015, but it got a jump, it got a bump, and it went, you know, to 31,000, and then the most recent sale was 35,000. There was a jump that was much higher for 4.0 that sold for 73,000 at its peak. But that was during the peak of, you know, the hype of all that stuff. But if you just look at consistently, you're still looking at a 500% return, you know, $30,000 pretty much if you would have bought it in 2005. And even from 2015 to, you know, to now, well, the last one was 2020, you're looking at a 13% return. So it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But then if you look over here on the 5.0, like it was a drop in percentage, but 2015 is 38. But then most recent sale, which was in 2020, sold for, you know, 50,000, a little bit over 50,000. From 2015 to 2020, when this one sold, that's a 32% jump, which is still good. Overall, 660,000. And that's the thing. It's like with these books, it's just really hard because there's not that many. So, you know, depending on how much people want to pay, that's kind of, I've had books where I'll get one in and I'll sell it for like $2,000 because we're the only ones that have one, or the only ones that has one in a nice grade. And then I'll get another one in and it'll sit forever, and I'll slowly drop the price or make a deal, and finally I'll sell it for the same book for like, you know, a fraction of that, maybe $1,000 instead of $2,000. Because it all comes down, when it's these rare books, it comes down to who has the money, who's willing to pay that price. And so, yeah, I mean, and if the hype is going, you can obviously get a lot more. But even the bubble that happened in 2017, 2016 era, when the first movie came out, it gave it a bump. But if you erase that bump, which I have done that, you know, this goes from 2015 either, you know, 2020 or 2021, it's still going up. It's still going up. So it's kind of like that big bump, but it's still going. It just had a big bump, but it's still going up. And I think it's still going to go up even higher. I think it'll get another big push for this book. I do believe that. It's just a question of when. Is it going to be with the next couple of years? Is it going to be when Wonder Woman 3 comes out? You know, it's hard to say. Yeah, I hope you like this video of the first appearance of Wonder Woman. And thanks for watching.